Well, thank you so very much, everyone. We're glad knowing that you are again joining us here on Global Television. This is welcoming you to Global Morning. We're delighted to have you here with us on the program. My name is Uyi, and incidentally, it turns out to be the second weekday, and we're grateful for the gift of life. Priscilla Obasi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you, and I trust you're good too.
Yes, I am. I improved on my sleep a little.
Oh, interesting.
By margin.
What did you have to do to improve on your sleep a little? Because
I don't think it was what I had to do. It was pretty much about what I was not made to do.
Okay.
I have a baby who's just a few weeks old, so he decided to sleep a little longer.
I was going to ask how that phase is coming, the new phase of this fatherhood, brand new baby phase can be.
It can be daunting, right? Especially when you have to juggle so much. You have to kick a breakfast show at 7 o'clock.
I can imagine.
You have to commute and things like that. But
then you have Omugo coming for you. I don't think it should be a problem.
Well, Omugo can never totally be a replacement for that, because in my place they have an adage that says nobody asks about who raised the child. The question is always about who is the parent of this child.
Actually.
So the final analysis.
And children can be very fantastic. Over the years, there have been a change in pattern. I mean, with the computer age and new children, I don't know if it's the same. I don't know if the first child, the experience with the first child was similar with the second. But of course, they say children are different, children are unique, and sometimes the experience is quite different.
True.
But the first phase or the first child you ever have in this life, it's totally different.
That feeling can never be described.
It cannot be described, and it can never be the same.
Right.
And I think in Africa, when you have that first child, you're very careful. You don't want anything to touch. The child's what do they call it? Maybe suitor drops on the floor. You go careful. You go. I watched the video around that. You watch and wash, and then when it gets to the third child, you're a bit carefree about it. I don't know why. Is it that?
So we've come a long way.
We've come a long way indeed. But then it's a beautiful experience, motherhood. And if you want to be an intentional father, there's a difference between being maybe a child. I don't know how to describe it or distinguish it, but a baby daddy and a father.
Right. I think the first one probably is about status. The other is about responsibility. All right. It can be the daddy of a child, not necessarily being there, without necessarily having to move a muscle or a pin.
Right? So there's between baby, the father and daddy.
Right. I had a lady or two one time who would call me my baby's daddy. They were referring to my child, my daughter, because they call my daughter their child. Right. So they refer to me as their a baby's daddy.
I see.
I didn't feel comfortable with the context, but I got the message all right.
Yeah.
So to that extent, that could be your status. Or I give another example. So you put a lady as a guy, you put a lady in the family way, but you don't get married to her, and then you are scorned, or you just extricate yourself from the mother of the child and from the child. So you are neither in the child's life nor in the mother's life, right? It doesn't change the fact that you're the father. You're biologically the father of that child, but fatherhood in the core sense, essential sense of it, is that you are responsible for raising that child, not just providing money for food and other vital items, but for nurturing and role modeling as well. Because let's say the father of a girl is the first brother, the first boyfriend, the first husband that she ever gets to know. So all of that will place a demand on your time, on your energy, and your money. So the question is, are you ready for the long haul?
I think the tides have really changed with what we have as fatherhood today.
Today,
the men of today need to be celebrated even more, because we need more days for fathers, just as we have. It was Mother's Day.
So now you realize that we've been oppressed long enough.
No, I think it's an issue of men not even wanting to recognize their own days. Men do not count their birthdays; they don't mark it like a woman, So it's not about,
because they are just also focused on the woman's birthday that they become so selfless. They forget about themselves.
Well, you should care about yourself. No no one will save you. You have to save yourself. You have to learn to make yourself happy. You
have to save the women.
People respond to how you treat yourself.
I agree totally.
So if you show value for days, everybody would have to align to that. Yes. So men have to be more intentional about looking for their days. If I ask a man now, when is Father's Day? When is International Day of the Boy Child? How do you even celebrate yourself on that day?
Right.
Because on such days, you see women flaunting themselves, praising themselves, and all of that.
I saw your video a few days ago.
And you just don't have any choice but to align, but just to view and get inspired, and because it's
like comments.
Exactly. So men need to be that intentional too
about their days,
about your days, and then maybe we'll discover hidden days that have been lying dormant, because I think there are. Because I had to take my time to investigate, to look for, to search, to research, to ask Google, what are the days that are meant to celebrate men? I really want to know. And then I saw a couple of them, like, how come we never get to see this? How come this never comes to the limelight? And basically because we don't have men shouting it.
Men are suffering. I must tell you that. But it's good to see a lady on the program this morning raising the placard, so to say, on behalf of the men. But indeed, we have to celebrate ourselves because we put in the work. Everybody, more than ever before, we see the role that women play now, becoming. It's now a drastic shift from what used to be very traditional, used to be very cultural and conventional. Today, women take on multiple roles, whether on the work front or back at home. We've seen women who have been able to build capacity, acquire skill sets across multiple sectors or spheres, which before now was not the case. So we must also realize how times are changing and to be able to keep pace.
Actually, and there have been a trend on the media space, social media particularly, of how a popular TV host comes out again to share his marriage experience, and people trying to
not the one that cried now, is it?
Not the one that cried. Okay. Frank Idoho has come out to say, this is what I went through in marriage, and men are saying, you have to, if we had moments speaking, you wouldn't believe it.
Right.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe it. So we have a culture that says, men, keep quiet.
Don't cry.
Don't cry. Don't let us know your business. You get. But men have to realize that it is part of living to speak. It is part of healthy living.
Right.
Because by the time you keep accumulating all the hurt, it doesn't make you a healthy human being. And you cannot be the best man you want to be for yourself first, before some other person. So if you're ultimately keeping quiet to pose as a good man, you are acquiring and, storing up toxins that would not even allow you to be the good man that you want to be.
And you and those around you will pay a price for that.
Thank you. So men should learn how to speak.
Yes.
Learn how to just feel okay. But when that other guy came on the podcast to vent and cry, we had a lot of people bashing him. But at the end of the day, how does it make him feel? He says, I feel happier, I feel better, I feel relieved.
Right.
Yeah, there's this sense of relief you get from venting. I think it's a natural way of excreting emotions because you can't keep storing it.
Exactly.
Yes, you can't.
Well, don't keep your tank all full of bad energy, toxins, like Rosella would call it, right? Well, let's go find some breakfast idea for you this morning. Is the culture here on Global Morning to intimate you with, some innovations as to what you can make by way of breakfast. Something light as always. All right, let's have at it.
Hello everyone and welcome to Taste and Texture. Today we're going to prepare a delicious Nigerian delicacy and we will be demonstrating it from scratch. Our delicacy on this episode is beans cake and pap. I am your creative chef, Saadatu Garba. Beans cake, popularly known as akara, and pap is one of the traditional breakfast options in a Nigerian household. Akara and pap is a hearty morning meal for most homes because of its light and filling nature. It is a delicacy made from beans, while pap is made from maize. I hope you enjoyed the recipe. Ingredients: beans, red bell peppers and scotch bonnets, onions, vegetable oil, salt and water. The ingredients for pap include pap, water, canned or powdered milk, and sugar. To prepare, wash and peel your beans. Add your beans, onions, and peppers into the blender. Add a little water and blend till smooth. After blending, Transfer into a bowl and use a mixer or a spatula to beat the mixture to make it fluffy. Add some onions to your oil to make it flavorful. Fry your akara in batches until golden brown and transfer to strain the excess oil. To make your pap, put the raw pap into a bowl. Add a little bit of cold water, then mix. Boil your water and quickly add into the mixture while turning to avoid lumps. Add your milk and sugar and your pap is ready. That's it on today's episode of Taste and Texture, and I hope you will try this recipe on your own. I'll see you again on the next creative recipe. This is Saadatu Garba saying take care of yourself.
Yummy, yummy, yummy. Akara and pap. Akara and pap. Or custard and pap, as some people would like it.
Right.
They say it takes 3 ingredients to make pap. When I hear this, the pap, the water, and the grace of God.
I think I want to pretend about the pap and the water part of it. I mean, we can all source that.
Yeah.
You see that grace of God. You can't go to the superstore to get it. You can't borrow from a neighbor. You can't just say, I have some left in the refrigerator. So that grace of God. A guy stayed with my big brother one time, many years ago, in Abuja here. So when I visited, he told me, so you see this guy, he's very industrious in terms of business. I mean, great guy. Comes to cooking, leave him in the kitchen all day. He'll give you whatever it is you want. But you see, pap, he practically runs away from it because that's where he bungles everything. I don't know the trick around it. I lived with a cousin one time. He was a banking executive. I was about 18, 19. The guy would have me cook everything. But when it was pap, I would just graciously invite him to come to the kitchen by himself because I didn't want to look dull. I didn't want to look like I was not well raised.
It makes you look like a loser.
Right.
Automatically.
You make everything what's the matter with pap? What does it take? You stir.
And then you're trying to leave it before anyone comes in. Somehow you're busted. you're left with water and the watery substance. Well, I think one secret to making is make the batter thick. When the batter is thick enough, it just goes up. But there are some paps that they are
all out to disgrace you.
Yeah, the guinea corn, that one is a very notorious.
So you have to look out.
Yeah, but I've been able to crack pap making though. I think I have been able to crack it. The water has to be boiling, like you're taking it from the fire straight up, right? To your this. You're not leaving it.
So by the kind you get off the fire, you rush to see what's happening on TV for 2 minutes, and then get back to turn.
You don't wait a second. As it's boiling
on the spot.
On the spot, you're turning it over to the batter. So I hope you enjoyed that wonderful inspiration.
And please don't forget the grace of God, whatever you do with regarding pap making, very important. All right, but there's so much to talk about today. By the way, on the program, policies, of course, we see that again. There's another angle to 2027 electioneering from the River State standpoint. Fubara is back in the news. This time, the strand is a bit different, but it is still the same power tussle, no doubt about that. Of course, the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, is still in the ring with him. So it's not a case of UFC.
Fubara was, I think he was kidding. He would have been joking to think that Nyesom Wike would have backed down. There seemed to be some sort of silence, and somehow he felt, I'm winning right now. The guy, I've been able to intimidate him. But you can't expect that from a Nyesom Wike. So, and I also think that at this point, what he should be concerned about is himself.
Right.
Forget about every other loyalist. Fight for yourself first, because there's a tough battle ahead of you. So make sure you protected yourself enough first, so that victory would be able to transcend to your loyalists. Right. But by the time you are carrying everybody along and want to win that one, it makes the war a bit more difficult.
It does. Well, it's going to be a long night for not just the policies of River States generally, but specifically for a gentleman like the governor of the state, Siminalayi Fubara. Of course, we can't go into all the details of what had happened last year between him and his, now estranged political benefactor, who were told at a point that the issue had been resolved, all thanks to the president's intervention. But as it stands today, 2027 is opening up old wounds, and it looks very sore.
The president also needs to tread carefully, because he's at that point where he's also concerned. I saw a video of him this morning, expressing a bit of that fear.
Right.
All the while, the APC had felt, oh, we've done this, especially when the governors from different parties.
We have it in the bag.
So they felt relaxed. They felt it was time to fold our legs. But when the ADC, started coming to the light of the day, they became to the light of the day, it raised a bit of concern, especially when the Kwankwasia movement joined. So he's at that point where he knows, it's a tough battle, and I have to strategize. And making Rivers State a state of concern right now, or trying to trigger anybody in Rivers State, should also not be something they should,
So the president is concerned about the optics. How does it affect my own ambition and political interest going forward?
Exactly, because if a Fubara decides to join the opposition right now, you know what it might mean? It might mean that he might be able to influence other governors in the
to the detriment of the APC and the president.
It's very possible. And Rivers State particularly is one state that
he may not necessarily decamp, because he can't decamp anymore now, but he can be in the APC and yet work for the opposition.
Exactly. So that's the choice that most politicians have right now, either to work for the opposition or to work against their party, ever work for the opposition, or to look for a way to just be calm, be still. But when you are aggrieved, it's almost impossible to stay calm, especially with the nature of our politicians.
Right.
So it's quite a dicey, interesting time ahead of us, and I'm looking forward to every bit of it.
All right, well, let's the action begin. Of course, we're right in the middle of it already. So that's very central to our lineup for you in the program this morning. In the meantime, we're taking a break, and we're joining Ramsey Enoch Agbo to bring you Heart to Heart Inspirational.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching from, where you are listening from right now. My name is Ramsey. Let's talk a little bit. A lot of people think the way they want to think, because everyone is entitled to their decision. Everyone is entitled to how they think. But then you have the right to think in a particular way. But then there is something I want us to consider today, inspiring ourselves, encouraging ourselves. What we are trying to achieve here is to set someone on track, give someone hope, restore someone's belief and faith in himself, in herself. What are we saying? There are things that you don't need to procrastinate about, that you need to start now. From where you are, using what you have, doing what you can, because nobody, all right, would want to have it all before they get started. If you're waiting for when you have it all before you get started, then it is a problem. So now, I want to ask a question. Let me ask you a question. How many dreams have died because someone was waiting for the perfect moment? How many dreams do you think have died? Even you who is listening, who is watching right now, how many of your dreams, how many of your plans have died because you were waiting for the perfect moment? Some will say, I will start when I have the money. Some will say, I will begin when I have the right equipment. Some said, I will take the first step when everything is in place. But when is going to be the time that everything will be in place? These are the questions we should be asking ourselves. But let me tell you something. The truth is this: there will never be a perfect time. The perfect time is now. All right? Arthur Ashe, the legendary tennis champion, once said, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. He didn't have the fanciest equipment. He didn't train in the best facility, but he had willpower and courage to start whatever he had. You see, greatness doesn't just wait for the perfect time. It doesn't care about perfection. It grows through progress. Every successful person you admire today started small. The difference between them and others isn't the talent, all right? It's the action, the move. Don't despise your humble beginning. Don't mind what people are saying, because people will say so many things about you. Whatever. Someone said his name is Whatever. Whatever you do, whatever you say, people must talk about it, whether positive or negative. If you're doing well, people will still criticize you, because some persons will say, oh, because of his affluence, he's behaving like this. If you don't have, some people would still say, where is he looking at? Can't he see his mates? Can't he see what his colleagues are doing? The small things that you are doing in a big way one day will generate you income that you don't even expect. The bottom line is this. You need to tell yourself and say, enough is enough. I've tarried too long in this place, in this position, all right, in this thinking. You know, it's a process. It's a process. Success is a process. First of all, you need to conceive it in your heart. Then secondly, it needs to get into your head. Have it in your head, or else it will never get into your hand. Number one, it needs to be in your heart, in your head, and in your hand. I call it the triple H. The triple H principle says it must get conceived in your heart first. Keep ringing in your head, then it will enter your hand one day. But a lot needs to be doing. It's a process, just like the seed. The seed doesn't grow in just one day. It went through a lot of processes. The gold you see today don't just come out shiny, but then it went through a refining process, a heating process with fire, serious fire. The gold has been heated in serious fire before it's become what it is today. So whatever you're doing, that dream that you have, begin to do something about it. Begin to mix up with people who are going your direction, people who have your kind of dream achieved already, because that thing you're thinking, somebody already has gone ahead to do it. So you don't need to just sit down and be thinking, be procrastinating. The economy is not favorable. Nigeria, this is the country. If I was abroad, well, let me tell you the truth. It's not all about your location. It's not all about your destination. Even though these factors play particular roles in your success, in your growth, in your achievement, but you don't need to capitalize on it. All right, and hold yourself back, because by the time you're holding yourself back, someone somewhere is already overtaking you, because the person believed in his or her dream and decided to make a move, despite the fact that they are not seeing the staircase, but they believe that their leg will land somewhere. All right. Risk taking is very important, but then if you want to take risk, let it be a calculated risk. Not the risk that will destroy you or claim your life. Any risk you're taking, it should be a calculated risk. If I do this, this is what is going to happen. If I do it this way, this is what is going to happen. But at the end of the day, this is where I am going to land, good or bad. That's how to take risk. You don't just take risk randomly and say, well, whatever wants to happen should happen. You should know that this thing that I want to do is two ways. It's either it happens this way or it happens the other way. But those two ways should be something that you should be able to survive, not that kind of risk that will end you in jail. Then that dream is already dead on arrival. That vision is dead on arrival. So if you want to take risk in as much as risk taking is part of the game, you need to be calculative. You need to put your sense together. All right. And you just need to know that every expert was once a beginner. Everyone started from somewhere, and they are where they are today. It's so beautiful talking with you. It's so nice talking with you in this aspect. A lot of people tell themselves, this is what I want to do. They start and they stop halfway. Some persons start and one thing comes up and they abandon that and rush on the other thing. But the bottom line is this: whatever you want to do, whatever it is you're doing, you should believe in yourself that you are a great man, you are a great woman. But then you need to put God at the center of everything that you do, whatever it is. Allah, okay, is supposed to be in charge. And everything you want to do, don't succeed at the detriment of the other person, because nemesis will not allow that success see the light of day. You might be successful today, but how long is that success going to be sustained? Will you be able to sustain it because you did it on a very faulty foundation? A house built on a faulty foundation never lasts. We heard of building collapse at different times. How did it end? because the foundation was faulty. So your success in life, your achievement in life should be on a very solid foundation without you stepping on toes. It's not necessary, okay? Because the plan that God has for you is of good. So do your best and try everything that you can and get started now. Get started now. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, December, you should be able to sit down and say, yes, this is what I have done. This is what I have achieved. All right. It might not be 100%, but at least 75, 80, 85, 90 is still a very good one. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful time. I want to see you at the other side of success so that we can celebrate together, because the world is waiting for you to manifest your success. Thank you.
I mean, what other way do you want to start your beautiful day? That inspiration is meant to, give you all the charge you need for today. Now we dive straight to the newspaper review segment, and we started with This Day newspaper. The first story here is on presidency. It says, Tinubu to spearhead Africa's economic transformation. Talks in Kenya. Again, Kenya is in the news.
Right.
There's something about Kenya. Something is happening. I think those that have foresight are seeing it. I need to
they're moving in the direction of East Africa.
Exactly. There's something spectacular right now that is heading towards Kenya. And everybody needs to see it. It's not normal for somebody to say, oh, I want to relocate. I'm not adding any meaning to it. I'm not reading in between the lines. But I feel like the news in recent times, and even our economy, Nigeria has been heading a bit towards Kenya, and it calls for deep research.
Yeah, we should be concerned. So in 10, 20 years' time, we don't keep saying, well, we never knew it was going to happen like this. One of the signs was all over. Yeah. At some point, Priscilla, just now that we're talking about Kenya, I also want to mention Rwanda, because these two countries are in the same, if you like, neighborhood, geographically speaking. These are two very pivotal East African countries. So I know of a woman who is a professor in a university who once shared a story. On a Sunday afternoon, I was at work. So she was talking to myself and two gentlemen, and she talked about how her son suddenly woke up one day and said he wanted to leave the country. So where I come from, if you say you want to leave the country, people believe you're going to the US, you're going to Europe, you're going to Australia, and yes, but this was different. So she says, I don't have a problem with that as long as it's something you're convinced about. However, your dad has to give you his blessing to do that. So his dad returns, he says to him, this is the plan I have. Of course, dad is not comfortable with that, he doesn't approve of it. And then the next thing you know is, dad wakes up one morning and said, well, it looks like you're bent on this journey of yours. By all means, and I hope it turns out to be in your overall best interest. Long story short, the guy leaves the house, and 4 months later, he reaches out to his mom and says if he had known, he would leave much earlier. Now, guess what? The guy didn't leave the continent. He just moved to Kigali in Rwanda. He's been there the whole time. He went into tech in Kigali, and he says the basic things I didn't have back at home, for example, constant lights, basic infrastructure, I have them where I live. With that, I don't even need to step out of the continent, and I'm getting the results, and I see a very prosperous future given what I'm doing today. We're not trying to say that these countries are perfect. We're trying to say that the world has to be forward-looking. Leaders must also provide leadership along that line. We must realize that we can't continue to be stuck, or worse still, retrogressive. We must be progressive in our thinking, and that must reflect in the results we see real time on the ground.
That's quite inspiring. I think a lot of Nigerians should learn from that. Most times when you see people leaving the country, japine,
Right.
in quotes. Most times they go out there without the vision. Imagine someone going to a country that just provides basic amenities and he can harness it. It means that his problem is not lack of productivity. He just needed the right environment to bring out what he had on his inside. And just a little of that, he's content. He feels this is able to help me sustain what I have going on for me.
Right.
And he makes good result of it. So it means that you don't have to travel overseas. You don't have to go to London. I'm not saying London is bad, but sometimes what you need is just the basic amenities, which our government needs to really work on, because it tells you that if these things can be provided in Nigeria will definitely, will be the talk of the world, because we have talented people. So whatever we're looking for in Sokoto can be in our Sokoto, but our government have not given it to us. So travel with a sense of purpose. Ultimately, that's what I'm trying to say. Make sure that you're not going out to go and do the rat race, because the rat race is everywhere. The fact that you're in UK or London or in America doesn't mean that you would not have to work. In short, the proof of survival is the more work you put in this very environment. Yeah, so you're working and you're seeing the result, but you will work to see the result. You keep working. But in a country like yours, you're not faced with racism. You're not faced with all of those things that you have to be faced with in other parts of the world. You have the ability to put yourself in the right frame. You feel like someone that belongs.
Right.
There's something identity does to you. There's a motivation it gives to you. There's a sense of purpose it gives to you. There's a way it makes you more productive, because I am not in any competition. This is my home. I'm accepted. I'm loved. And more so if you're doing such a thing in your own state. Do you understand? You're not just in a different state in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So you feel like someone that belongs, and it gives you the energy to dream, to drive, to dare to do things that you want to do. So I'm ultimately saying that we can actually be everything we want to be, but with the right environment just makes it possible. And Nigerians should know this. We started on the Kenya note, and a writer to that says, advancing Nigeria's economic reform agenda also on the card. I don't know who this is coming from, but you want to read up details. Dangote plans $50 billion IPO valuation for 650,000 BPD refinery. Details on page 6. Next story. Intense pressure to resign. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer weighs his options. You can only see things like this coming. It's almost impossible in Nigeria.
I think MP Kemi Badenoch has not been easy on the gentleman. I mean, every other day at the PMQ, as they call it, you see her badgering him with questions, with anecdotes. And for the most part, maybe I'm just the only one. I see the Prime Minister looking helpless as he sits there, sometimes giving the impression that he's speechless, he has no answers to the questions. Because you know how Kemi can be with her energy when she raises some of those issues, whether around taxes, the choices of those that the Prime Minister appoints, some choices he has made supposedly on behalf of the people of the United Kingdom, and things like that. And some people have said, look, Mrs. Badenoch may just be ultimately, or at least potentially, a Prime Minister material. But I spoke with a friend about a fortnight ago. He said, look, she's good, she's brilliant, she brightens up the whole place, she pushes the right conversations. But then I believe that she's better off being in the opposition, not becoming Prime Minister, because it's one thing for you to know all the problems, but whether or not you have the capacity to solve those problems, to address those problems, is a different kettle of fish.
Yeah, some people are good in criticism.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get
continue to prod you to do the right thing.
Of results, and if they're in that space, it prompts you to do the right thing.
Right.
And results will be made ultimately. Again, it's a pointer to a country that works. Kemi has her origin, of course, from Nigeria, and for her to be able to put a Prime Minister under such pressure,
says a lot.
It says a lot. In Nigeria, you cannot. I don't know. There's a black woman, making such an impact. It's, of course, an impact. Whichever way we want to say.
That's what we're talking about.
It is. It's an impact. So this is a pointer to how it should be. People should be called out to act better. And that way, that is when we begin to see the results, the growth, the progress a nation should experience. Not, I don't want to say what we have going on for us, but it's looking like
There's something certainly going on for us, right?
Yeah, and it's not so good if you ask me.
But let's get it going.
Let's get it going. Let's get it going with the next headline, which is on Trump talking about the U.S. Iran ceasefire on life support. Trump can be very hilarious with his.
Right. But he means every word of it.
He does mean every word he says. Iran ceasefire on life support. Peace document. Piece of garbage. Peace document, piece of garbage. Peace document, piece of garbage.
Yeah, he's talking about the peace documents that Iran proposed. All right, he calls it a piece of garbage. But Iran has also said that, look, we're not afraid to go into combat or confrontation, with you. If you are going to, if you like, return to attacking us, we are ready for retaliation, and it's going to be messy for both of us.
Interesting.
Right.
So why is it on life support? It means that, of course,
the chances are slim. Yes, that the ceasefire deal will see the light of day.
Please, it shouldn't be at this point, because we don't want to go back.
No, our dollar is, I should say, crude is selling for $104 at the international market, which ironically is a blessing for Nigeria. Given that our budget is benchmarked against the price of oil in the international market. But the bad news with that is that it's pretty much like having one problem solved, but you create two problems in the middle of finding that solution.
Well, we will. Is it good to dream and hope that we come out?
We will come out. We must put in the work.
We must put in the work. Right. That is very important. Let's get to the next story. Atiku, zoning self-defeating. Kwankwaso, I will run with Obi.
He says he has no problem with that. He will gladly be running mates to Peter Obi. Yes, people will say, well, we know what you're doing, sir. You're looking at 2031. That's why you're doing all of this, not because you're nationalistic or patriotic. But for whatever it's worth, we recall that this is something he had not accepted just barely 4 years ago. But today the man turns around 180 degrees and he says, I have no problem with that. I'm comfortable with these arrangements. So let's make it happen.
And Nigerians should accept it. I don't know why we are crying more than the bereaved.
To even think that they are not bereaved in the first instance.
Because Atiku had the opportunity to do this, and he said, I'm not. Right. Someone else comes and says, I'll do it.
So why blame him?
So, can't you just let people leave? Okay, so Atiku has also said he doesn't think it's a good idea to zone the presidency to the south, basically because it's not good for, it doesn't give the result, electionary result. If you are coming from a different, maybe geopolitical zone, the competition is there, and somehow it would bring people towards you. And I'm like, this president, it is not okay to still have a vice president from the region you're talking about. That person will be able to still
to pull that
weight from the maybe northern part of Nigeria, or whichever part you want it to zone. Obviously, the northern part of Nigeria. I don't see any reason, because we're not just talking about the president. There has to be a vice president to accompany the president.
Right.
So I don't know if what he is saying is making sense, but he's entitled to his opinion. Ogiame Atuwase 3 meets Tumofio Osei Tutu in Ghana. Okay, that's a picture story there.
That's the Oluwafori.
Oh, interesting. I heard he's
Ogiame Atuwase.
He's a very interesting personality.
He is. I like when his wife, the Queen Consort, when she addresses issues around women, around the girl child, issues around what women bring when it comes to change society for the better. You realize that these are not just royalties, but they are people who are loaded with knowledge about the issues and with the capacity to provide solutions to most of these issues.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of the headlines from the This Day newspaper. Next port of call is the Daily Trust.
All right, top right corner, first of all, on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. It says 500 naira pepper, tomatoes disappear from markets as prices skyrocket. I'm sure they're talking to Priscilla, not me.
I said you're a chef now, so you should.
No. I didn't say I go to the market a lot. So they are two different tasks.
Okay, no one does to go into the market for you. And then
by the way, I didn't say I'm a chef. My wife would judge me differently.
You don't want to implicate yourself.
No. I need more grace for this than I do for making pop. Okay, another judge orders arrest of ex-minister Salem Mamman. This is a man we understand has been convicted of financial misappropriation while he was Minister of Power. A 16-year-old Daniela Owoye emerges 2026 UTME highest scorer.
Oh, interesting.
That's quite impressive. But we have the big one that says, is Tinubu changing security architecture? What does that even mean? Well, you can read up on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, and that story continues on the third page. And further down, we have four more headlines. Here it tells us 11th Senate, why Uzodinma is throwing his heart into the ring. Fishermen feared killed after Chad strikes on Boko Haram. Quite sad. Alleged coup, again, families of suspects protest in Abuja. What are they protesting for? What's their prayer? What are they demanding? You can read up details on page 5. Ex-Jigawa rep dies in Bandit's den, colleague freed after 50 million naira ransom. 1 minute you think you've heard the last of this sort of very gory story. The next minute you're hearing yet another. Quite sad that people would be kidnapped. Then, of course, even after a ransom has been paid, after the traumatic experience their loved ones have to go through, they still pay the ultimate price for it. So sad. Those are all the headlines from the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, everyone. All right, let's go to the next one. This time, it is the Punch newspaper.
Okay, thank you. The Punch newspaper has the first story, top left corner above the nameplate, says NNPC NUPRC remits 322 billion naira, $116.9 million after Tinubu order. Okay, is this supposed to come after? Is this the first remission? Is this a result of the fuel subsidy removal? Where is this coming from? Because one of the expectations the common man had in Nigeria is that after fuel subsidy, Nigeria will be great again. But after fuel subsidy, the borrowings have...
After, it could be after 5 years, it could be after 10 years.
Well, it's something that was paid instantly. That was being put into fuel subsidy was not accumulated after 4 years. Right. It was not calculated after 4 years. No. It was something that was... In short, at the point where they were removing, they said, this is how much we spend. They even broke it down. Do you understand? Right now, why can't we break it down? What are we supposed to expect from what has been removed?
The breakdown is not as easy as you think.
It's not as easy as I think. Right. It's so difficult. So you want to read up details. I don't know. Tinubu has been acting really great in recent times.
So you're impressed with some of the moves that the president has made lately?
I am. But ultimately, we want to see it reflect
on quality of life.
The quality of life of every single Nigerian. It's not about just having the headlines, because we can have monies recovered. Where did it go to at the end of the day?
Who are we holding accountable?
Thank you. That's it. Coup plotters reached out for spiritual cover. And that's coming from a cleric.
So when I heard that, because on my way to work this morning, I listened to newspaper review on radio. When I heard that, I didn't know how to place it in my head. I was just there reflecting the whole time. When a cleric says the coup plotters reached out for spiritual protection, when they reached out, what brief did they present? Did they tell you exactly what the enterprise was they were going to be involved in?
Well, Nigeria is such a religious place. You don't even need to do all of that. You just say, please pray for me, and that covers everything.
So you don't have to go to specifics?
Yeah, you don't have to. As long as you need prayers.
As long as you reach out.
Somebody will be there to pray for you and cover you.
But apparently doesn't look like they were covered now.
Well, because you've been exposed. That's true. Please, this is not the covering they need.
Right.
Details on page 12. Next story says, ISIS moves operations to West Africa, US warns. Have they not been in West Africa all the while?
They have. Maybe they've been operating here, but they had not moved their operations.
So
but now
they've been in
they're
Nigeria.
now headquartered, I guess, the US is warning about.
And that is not coming from a place of guesswork at all, because in the US
Rigorous search and digging, so that
exactly.
intel can be taken to the bank.
I really would say so too. 2027 presidency, Atiku's Northern Ticket campaign faces resistance. Details on page 2. Resistance from who? You want to find out by reading that very story. And the big story has federal government, World Bank in talks over second largest 1.2 billion naira loan. Was that loan given to Nigeria? Loan approval expected 6 months before 2027 presidential election. World Bank flags high political risks ahead of 2027 polls. NESG warns Nigeria's debt outlook remains troubling. My question is, why do we keep giving the money?
Right. If you are so bothered.
If you're so bothered, why is it that when they come to you, they'll say, I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to go, you meet an account officer in the bank that tells you, I know you want this loan, but I think you should have a rethink. You can strategize. They say that they're not so nice to us.
There are a couple of things you can do as an alternative to securing a facility.
Honestly, I expect that from the World Bank. Why is it that whenever, are we that influential? Are we that wonderful?
Are we that credit-worthy?
I'm telling you, we don't seem credit-worthy. So why do we keep getting an approval? Is it?
Yes, so we come lucky.
Well, maybe we'll have spiritual covering.
I know we did reach out.
We did reach out. Okay, so that is it. And Tinubu government eulogized Fasoranti at 100. Details on page 12. Adeleke deposes Osun monarch after US conviction. Details on page 12 still. Oil hits $104 as US-Iran peace deal fails. On page 37 is where you will see that detail. 13 foreigners rescued in Lagos anti-trafficking operation. Page 5 has that detail. And finally, Rivers Assembly, Fubara loyalists reject APC screening report. What, do they have a choice at this point? I don't know. I think they should just go and hold on to faith and focus on their principle and to get to whatever it is it needs to get. And afterwards, they can always appeal any other case.
Right.
Yeah, I feel so. Those are your headlines for the Voice newspaper. Next point of call is the Vanguard.
On top of it, first of all, it says NESG raises fresh concern over Nigeria's debt burden. Priscilla brought you that headline previously. That is the Nigerian Economic Summit Group. They're raising concern over the country's debt burden. Top left corner says 2027, Yokika, Wike Fubara's rivalry deepens. Details on page 8. JAMB retains 150 cutoff point for varsities, scraps UTME for NCE applicants with 4 credits. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I saw this yesterday, and this is just to encourage the education sector.
Right.
Because NCE applicants, I think they have a good background already, so I don't see a reason why they should write.
No way.
NCE applicant, it means, okay, those that
want to go into colleges of education, right?
So you don't need JAMB in any way.
If they have 4 credits.
4 credits. Oh, that's the
point. But those who are going into agriculture, as long as it's not the engineering aspect of agricultural sciences, they do not also need to write.
So this is to encourage education and agriculture in Nigeria. It's quite strategic. And does this also apply to universities or just colleges?
Yeah, even universities. So if you're going to a university and your goal is to study agriculture, but not agricultural engineering or engineering agriculture, yes, exactly. You do not require JAMB as well.
Okay, we'll have our.
It looks like it's very exciting.
No. It means that I can look at it in 2 ways, or in 2 ways. It will mean that Is it that we don't regard the education sector, or we feel like, it's for people that don't need to stress their brain, or people that don't have brains? Or is it that we're trying to encourage education and access and all of that, or have that sector filled with good Nigerian graduates? Maybe we don't have enough educators. But if you look at it in the real sense, we have teachers that are out of school, universities that are looking for good paying jobs, but they don't get any. So when we are putting more into the system, what is the plan? I think we should focus at creating job opportunities for them, because we already have existing teachers with low paying jobs that keep suffering every single month. And then when we're infusing more into the system, they go and add to the population.
The cycle continues.
The cycle continues. It gets even worse, because I can decide for those people that have issues going to university because of cut-off, and say, okay, I don't need to get JAMB again. By cut-off of that means process now, and I just go and study education. At least let me go to school. Let me come out. It can be, a way out for some Nigerians, but for those that would end up depending on that certificate to get a well-paying job, what is the fate for them? So it's a good strategy. I really love it, but I think we should also
look at all the factors.
Work at the back end, the exit point, and see that we're creating job opportunities. Let us have government schools that work. The government schools have teachers that are not enough. At least that is one sector that at least gives teacher, maybe they're not well paid as as good as some private schools will do, but at least it's steady salary and all of that. But we still have a low turnout of teachers. We don't have enough teachers in the system. So what happens to employing more? Why is it scarce? Why don't we have enough job opportunities in the teaching line in our government schools? They should look at it. They should look at even building more government schools. I don't think we have nursery government schools in Nigeria. And that is the fundamental, that's the foundation of education. If we can create government nursery crèche schools.
Who says we cannot have that as part of the public school system?
We can have that. And there are teachers that are trained for this. There are people that are naturally even inclined towards children. So we can have all of those opportunities, as much as we are infusing and putting more people into the system.
Amazing. Well, let's make progress. Next time you want to consult for issues regarding education, you know where to turn now, right? Atiku kicks against Southern presidency, warns opposition against self-defeatist politics. Interesting. A 2027 presidency, Jonathan caught in PDP's quagmire. With 3 riders here, Wike Turaki scams flex muscles. Ex-president has 24 hours to obtain nomination form. Jonathan didn't buy our form. We are not expecting him. Wike backs PDP. Excuse me.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. Very straightforward.
I'm not expecting him. And that seems to be the potent faction of the PDP.
Exactly. So if he didn't buy the form and you're not expecting him, so on what basis are we even having the conversation about the possibility of the former president running in 2027?
That's a rude thing to come from Wike, though. I don't think he should address or
setting the record straight.
No. It doesn't sound nice in any way.
Tinubu appoints Homeland Security Advisor to strengthen internal security on page 9. FNPP alerts Tinubu of plots to destabilize PGF ahead of 2027. 42 killed in Zamfara, Benue attacks, many abducted. 40 Nigerian fishermen feared dead after Chadian airstrikes on Lake Chad. Again, should we call these collateral damage? Or what else do we refer to? These are quite sad. This story is replicated across newspapers this morning, but on the Vanguard newspaper, you can read up details on page 25. Those are all the headlines for you from the Vanguard. Please read up details as we go look at our very last paper this morning, and that happens to be the Nation newspaper. Priscilla has all of those headlines for us.
Okay, thank you very much. The Nation newspaper has its first story from my end above the nameplate top left corner, and it says Uzodinma Bagudu to diplomats. Tinubu's policies rebooted economy. Okay, maybe it's just at the first the starting phase. No, he puts the computer. It's still loading. We are yet to see. It's not downloading yet. But we want to read of that detail on page 2. Next story. Makinde, now our member, says APM Board of Trustees Chairman. Details on page 3. Committee, why we disqualified the 6 Rivers Assembly aspirants. Page 4 has that detail. No more UTME for College of Education applicants. Details on page 6. Atiku attacks NDC over zoning of presidential ticket to the south. It means that he never wanted Obi to win the primaries of the ADC. From what he's clearly saying now,
Obi dodged the bullet.
He did. It's obvious. The handwriting was everywhere, and he read it. He saw it, and he had to leave. Because for him to make such bold statements, it's not democratic in any way. You keep saying this, and knowing fully well that you had someone in your party that was from the southeast. You were going to do everything.
So you're already telling them one way or another that the chances never existed.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the point. Well, Nigerian politics has all of this drama every once in a while, and every time, not just once in a while. Details on page. Okay, right to that says ex-VP decision taken to favor individual rather than national interest, and that's from Dele Anofi in Abuja. Adeleke dethrones Osun monarch jailed for COVID-19 fraud in the US. Wow, interesting. Details on page 33. And those are your headlines for the Nation newspaper. Atiku just has to do better. Nigerians have known him over years as someone that is self-driven, and he has to change the narrative for his own good. He has
of course. Well, let's hope not only will it change the narrative for his own good, Nigeria also will become better on account of the 2027 general election and its outcome. Those are the headlines from the papers we brought to you this morning. Remember that Global Television, as a broadcast media entity, or the team here on Global Morning, does not in any way contribute to these headlines or their details. All we do is bring you the headlines exactly as published by their respective publishers. We're taking a quick break. Up next is Social Bars with Ogochukwu Mabuno. Up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m., Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
At Witchtech Cables, we don't just make cables, we deliver excellence. Our products are built with advanced technology, trusted for their unmatched quality and durability. With a wide range of cables, swift delivery, and continuous innovation, we stay ahead of the market demand. We are proudly Nigerian, fully indigenous, yet world-class. Backed by a professional team, strong technical support, and a deep commitment to customer satisfaction. Witchtech Cables is more than a brand, it's a promise. Witchtech Cables, quality cables better than the best.
When social media speaks, we listen and we bring you the extra. It's your one-stop shop for trends, tweets, and the tea everyone's sipping on. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get that extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global TV.
Good morning, Nigerians and viewers around the world. It's time to look at buzzing issues on social media. Today we're looking at Jackpot Dreams or Harsh Truth. A Nigerian man flaunts comfortable life in New Jersey. Don't let anyone deceive you. This is his words. I'm going to quote him, and he says, "Do not let anyone deceive you. There are places better than home." The Nigerian man in US shows off neighborhood in New Jersey. Living in the United States has sparked reactions online after sharing his thoughts about life abroad while showing off his neighborhood in the New Jersey. In the video, the man argued against the popular saying that there is no place like home, insisting that some places abroad offer a better quality of life. While showing the environment around his neighborhood, he pointed to the infrastructure, cleanliness, and overall living condition as reasons for his opinion. Okay. Let's take a look at that video.
When I see those people where they talk say no place like home, my brother, places they way past home. Like for New Jersey, yeah. Now see us everywhere sweet, everywhere look nice. This one are just normal local area. Everywhere just look nice. But for Benin, places go rough. Anyhow, Lagos places go rough. Then you can't tell me say no place like home. Places better past home. Make home go die for that side. I dey okay with my chicken and broccoli for here and salad. Mona dey chop egusi soup and pandenya maneba and amala and ewedu. Okay? I go dey chop chicken and turkey and steak with salad. And I do, na bye bye.
All right, that's a Nigerian man in New Jersey saying the saying there is no place like home is a fallacy. It doesn't exist anymore because where he is right now is more like home, and to him it feels like it is poverty mentality saying there is no place like home. All right, let's take a look at some comments from social media as regards this. And the first comment is coming from Michael Smith, and Michael says, "No place like home isn't about how good the place is, Oga. Every place called home carries a different story and a memory to different individuals." Thank you so much, Michael, for your contribution. Next comment is coming from I Am Pepe, and Pepe says, "The hardest part of living abroad isn't missing home. It's realizing I no longer fully belong there either. Last time I was in Niger was in 2021. Do I want to go back at this point? Now, not in the nearest future even, but by God's grace, when," she says, "when Peter Obi wins next year election, I go enter Niger. If him no win, maybe 2035, I'll consider to enter Niger. But for now, I am home. So if he never wins, you're no longer coming back." Okay? All right, thank you, Pepe. And the next, which is the last, it's coming from Chef Ruth. And Ruth says, "In the roughness, gangan is where I find joy. I want to see the woman frying akara and people standing around waiting for akara. I want to see the aboki kiosk by the corner of my house. I want to see keke going up and down my street, making it feel lively. I want to see my neighbors playing football on the street. I'm a people person. I don't like isolated neighborhoods." Thank you so much, everyone who drops their comments concerning this particular topic. It gives me like a sense of joy that we are still patriotic. The truth is, Nigerians love Nigeria as a country. We love our country. We understand that we have economic challenges and also some other challenges, but let's not say that Nigeria isn't home. It is home. It's not only home to Nigerians, but it is home to even people that are non-Nigerians. I've seen some persons testify, different people, say that they've been to Nigeria or they came to Nigeria and they were received, warmly welcomed by Nigerians. So it is home even to people outside the country. All right, I'm not alone today in the studio. I have with me Uyi Agwomofwe. Good morning, Uyi.
Good morning, Morgan. Good to see you. I'm excited knowing that for the first time, someone off screen this morning told us the meaning of your surname.
You never asked. I would have said that. But
No. Better late than never. Like I said, it gives me excitement.
Okay, you only heard one part. That is like divided into two.
That's more than a handful already.
All right. Anyways, we're talking about Jack Ma here. A young man has come out to say, you know what? That word or that phrase, there is no place like home, is not true. To him, there is a place like home, and he has actually found his home. According to him also in his video, he said it is a poverty mentality claiming there is no place like home, especially when you are in Nigeria. So a lot of persons, I just like the comment I actually read today, and it just shows how patriotic we are in this country. It shows how we are ready to really sacrifice for our country. It shows how many people really love it here. We are very comfortable. We understand that we have issues here and there when it comes to leadership, economics, and all of that, but people really love it here compared to living outside. If you ask me, I'll tell you, I just want to go there, maybe school or do one of the things, vacation, and come back. I really love it here too. What do you think, Oyi?
Okay, first of all, what state did you say this gentleman is in?
He's in New Jersey.
Oh, great. Okay, so my mom would say travel is part of education. I heard that almost every day time growing up, right? And I look back today as a full-blown adult, also raising a family, and then realize that nothing is more true than that, right? So when people travel, whether locally or across the globe, they learn something new, so they add it to knowledge, right? And this idea of, I feel it's better here at home when I see tricycles, the ones we call keke. I see people playing street football on a Saturday morning in my neighborhood. I can go somewhere and buy a akara. It's amazing, really, it is. I don't do that much because my wife is in the habit of making akara at home every other Saturday morning.
Okay, lucky you.
But for those who are able to do that, why not? By all means, right? But it shouldn't, as it were, now cancel out those who want to travel. And there are perspectives to all of this. People travel for many reasons. There are those who just travel simply to study and come back. There are those who go for training, they come back. There are those who go to do, they visit for Mugo or whatever it is, and then they come back. But there are those who must leave for the very safety of their own lives. All right. There are those who must leave because of the kind of economic, if you like, experience that they've had over time. You can't fault it because he who wears the shoe knows where it pinches. Okay. Therefore, there's no one size fits all. In any case, let's also be clear. New Jersey is one of the 5 most expensive states in the U.S. as of today, right? And then when you look at that state too, crime rates have dropped significantly the last 3 years accounting. Plus, minimum wage, the standard minimum wage in New Jersey as of today is $15.49. That's the standard. In maybe small employers, they pay a little less, maybe something in the mode of $14.50 and all of that. Now, when you do the math, Ogochukwu, for the standard minimum wage of $15.49, that's already an upward of $22,000 an hour. So imagine that for a minute. You're paid $22,000 naira just to work for 1 hour. And you can do as much as 6 or 8 hours for 5 days a week. You can do multiple jobs around that same minimum wage. However, rent is also something that takes up a lot of these earnings that you get in a place like New Jersey, because you're paying between $2,500 and $3,500 per month, because you pay your rent monthly, not annually like we have in Nigeria, right? And this is not a luxurious apartment, let's be clear. So when you do all of that, you pay your taxes, you feed, and you do other things that are essential as a human being, you realize that you are spending so much, almost as much as you're earning just to stay alive. However, the quality of life is not the same, because you have to look at what they call the Human Development Index. What's the life expectancy there, for example? How much of access do you have to electricity? How constant is it? What's the state or standard of infrastructure, right? You have to look at that.
Mm-hmm.
What's the quality of healthcare? Can you access it? Can you afford it? If you were to lose your job this morning, what are the odds you get another one within the next 1 month? And what happens in between that space when you don't have a job? Do you have social support system? These are things people look at, and honestly, for many people, it is beyond seeing keke in your neighborhood.
Okay, so according to the lady, I know you are using these other comments, about seeing keke and people frying akara and all of that. She says she's a people person,
right? And
she wants to go outside and see people in her neighborhood. She doesn't like this isolated kind of living. We see it for someone like me here who haven't even gone outside the country yet. I see when people just do their thing. When you're even dying, sometimes you don't have this. I don't know if I'll call it human sympathy or something, but you see people just walk past you and only God knows what they're getting here. Unlike in Nigeria, I'm using Nigeria of course as a case study. I'm not talking about Africa, but I'm using Nigeria. So unlike in Nigeria, when something happens, people just want to be around you. They want to offer the little help they can offer. So this person is saying, I don't want to be in an isolated place where I cannot even say good morning, my neighbor. That's someone looking at me like I'm crazy. But right now you come outside, you see your neighbor and you're saying, good morning, Mama Nkechi, good morning this, and that's how you spread love and joy, even when you have not eaten. We understand. I'm not disputing the fact that we have a lot to work on when it comes to socioeconomic infrastructure and all of that. We do have a lot when it comes to development in our country. I'm not disputing that fact. But when it comes to relationship, the way you have been received, the way you're welcome, even in the office, I understand that you might say, it's too much. But in the office, you see people work, when you come in Nigeria, you see people work as though they've known themselves for long. I don't know how it is outside there. But for some of my friends who've been outside, they'll tell you, man, you just cannot talk anyhow. You can't talk to people. It's really very hard to, have this kind of relationship with people or friendship.
Did you also mention that you don't easily find Mama Put around the corner?
You don't. That is another thing. You see, that's why someone said, at least you can go outside, you see bole. You eat bole because you cannot afford maybe fried rice or go to any of these big restaurants to get a big good meal, but at least you get street food around. Can you really get street food? Not burger. I'm not talking about burger. I'm not talking about whatever, but street food, something that you can actually eat that is healthy enough for you. So these are the things some people are saying when it comes to, everyone has a definition of what they call home.
Right.
So him in New Jersey, that's home. Getting a very good infrastructure, development, economy is working fine and everything, that's home for him. Why to some other person, home is wherever makes them feel very comfortable and happy. That's it. So I think everyone is actually right at this point.
It just depends on what's peculiar to you.
That's it. Thank you so much, Uyi, and everyone who was part of this conversation, including those who dropped their comments concerning this topic today. And this is where we draw the curtains for Social Buzz on Global Morning. I'll be leaving in the hands of Priscilla and we are to usher us into the discussion section of Global Morning. So stay with us. Once again, good morning, Nigeria and viewers around the world. I am August Kumobino. Bye for now.
When social media speaks, we listen and we bring you the extra. It's your one-stop shop for trends, tweets, and the tea everyone's sipping on. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get that extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global TV.
Hello, welcome to Tuesday's weather forecast. The atmosphere is expected to be mostly calm with a mixture of clouds and sunshine to sunny skies in the northern states. But as the day progresses, moisture influx and atmospheric instability will trigger thunderstorm activities in parts of Taraba, Plateau, the Federal Capital Territory, Benue, the southeastern and the south-south region. And let's talk about temperatures. In the southern parts of the country, temperatures are gradually dropping. This is due to continuous rainfall activities in the region. In contrast, it's expected to be intensely hot in the northern states, particularly in parts of Borno and Yobe, where temperatures are peaking at 44 degrees Celsius. We advise remain well hydrated and wear light breathable clothing. That's the forecast. I am Theodora Itzum. Thank you for watching.
At Aerogym Shoe Factory, excellence starts from the ground up. Located at number 1 Pound Road behind Nigeria Correctional Service, Aba, Abia State. We produce 1,500 high-quality shoes every single day. Paramilitary shoes, safety boots, desert boots, ankle shoes, back-to-school footwear. All crafted with state-of-the-art equipment and built for strength, comfort, and durability. For reliable footwear that stands the test of time, choose Aerogym Shoes for better product, strong steps, smart style. For inquiries, call 091-264-53399 or 070-3009-3944 or 080-6573-8374 or call 081-3167-3668. Email info@aerogym.com. Website www.aerogymdesign.com. Aerogym. Walk with confidence. Walk with pride.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust a multi-platform news broadcast real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Global TV News, accurate and unbiased. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe. You know, home is relative. My people say wherever you find peace and comfort, naturally becomes, as it were, your kingdom, right? Even though you may not be a king, as you know, it's this issue of whether you feel at home abroad or not. I think is relative to individuals. Yes, there are people who naturally would complain about language barrier. for those who are moving to places where the first language or the lingua franca is not English. I remember growing up back in the day, I think I was just getting out of primary school. There were a few ladies who were going to travel abroad. They were learning foreign language. So I was wondering, of what use is all of this? Are you just going to do this for a few weeks and then all of a sudden you become very proficient in this language? But I grew up to realize that what they were doing at that time was to make their assimilation, so to say, or acclimatization easier for them, since where they were going to or such that English was not the first language. So you will deal with that, it's natural. If you even move from Edo, like I am from, to say Imo, for instance, you would be concerned about how do I speak Igbo, how do I communicate with locals and things like that. So it happens across the country, let alone when you leave your country altogether. So you have to deal with that. And there's no one size fits all. So you don't say, well, because my choice is I'd like to travel abroad, so for Priscilla who may not like the idea, she's making a wrong choice, or vice versa. So it's got to be about, first of all, what's your reality? What works for you? We've seen people who say, look, between our end of 2027, I'm moving my family out of this country. They have their reasons. We have seen executives who sold all they had and they left the country. We can sit here all day and criticize them, analyze them, pick holes in that decision, but you can never perhaps understand the peculiarity of their reality.
I think it's ultimately relative. The problem is that some people travel without counting the costs. You don't count the cost. You now go and meet a huge shock, culture shock, and every kind of shock.
That resets your whole life.
Resets your whole life. I've seen videos of the Japa people. You go abroad, those that have, maybe for those that are introverts, maybe they don't really have issues with it because you're used to being alone. So your personality type matches with the environment you find yourself, or the...
I hope you're not speaking to me now.
I don't know. I don't know if you are an introvert.
I mean, you know that I am.
Well, okay, so for those set of people, they don't really have issues, when they find themselves in an environment that automatically or first-hand poses as one that you have to stay on your own, stay to yourself. People enjoy their company.
Right.
There are people that can stay years without talking to anyone. Just working, holding their computer or their devices, they are good to go. I've not really seen videos for so. There are people that even say, "Oh, I feel happy. It's great to be here. No more noise." Do you understand?
Right.
But for people that have maybe the extroverts,
life of the party,
kind of people, you just want to be around people. It's usually a rude shock for them.
Right.
So for such kind of people, you need to mentally prepare yourself before you leave a particular environment for another. Like you said, we're not just talking about going to Europe and overseas and traveling. Sometimes going from Lagos to Abuja, people that come from Lagos to Abuja, like, I can't come. Abuja is too calm for me. How do you go up here? People that go from Abuja to Lagos, like, God, this place is so crazy. How do you go up here? It happens even within, Nigeria. Not talking of going to a different country. So count your costs. Know exactly. Prepare your mind mentally. If you have an aim to go and achieve, so I want to go to school and make maybe more money to come back, then you know that you have to prepare your mind. You know that I'm going here and this is what I should expect.
Right.
So that you don't go into depression. Because depression can be real for those kind of people. You're on your own, you see them come up with videos crying, and some people how do you set the camera to cry? Crying.
Yeah, I mean, we thought we were depressed. We thought we were over the whole time. So how did you find the strength to move the ring light?
It can actually work too. So people cannot understand that, but it's something that is possible. So you find yourself crying, you find yourself, feeling sad and bad, and the aim of going out to be focused, to be, achieve your goal might eventually be defeated if you cannot put yourself together.
Right.
So find a way to put yourself together. And even abroad, I feel like people go abroad and want to take on a new life.
Right.
New personalities, new everything, because you are in a place predominantly occupied by the whites. You want to behave like the whites. You are still an African. You are allowed to be you. If there is, I think this Western community permits people to be themselves, largely. Because these are the societies that you have people that say they are gay. I'm not, endorsing it in any way. But if someone says you can be a woman, you can be a man, you can be why can't you be an African? Do you understand?
So you have those options.
You have those options. If I can change my gender, why can't I be,
be authentic?
Be authentic about who I am. So you don't have to put yourself in a box. You don't have to impress nobody. You don't have to speak like them. If you find your fellow Nigerians, some Nigerians even go as far as trying to emulate, the language, even to their fellow Nigerians. They're not trying to speak to a white person or someone in London. You are speaking to your fellow Yoruba guy, and you're using the British accent. Do you get? It's not necessary. Just be yourself. Don't put yourself in any box. Try as much as possible to get a community. Everywhere you get abroad now, there are people that say abroad is for Nigerians, because you see, it's a Nigerian community. There are communities you go to, and you find out there are lots of Nigerians there. So find a place, find a community that works for you. Try to bond. I see videos of Nigerians abroad, having get-together, having picnics. They are deliberate about bonding. It has a way of making you feel okay. It has a way of stabilizing you to a very large extent. So if you are such a person, you have to be intentional about your network. I believe that there are chat rooms, there are groups online. The technology, social media has made it even easier. So you go to communities on Facebook or any of the social media platforms, and you are seeing that this is a community of blacks in the UK, in London, in New Jersey, and all of that. Belong, collect contacts. Where is it happening today? Where are we going to? You will be fine. You will be fine. What we call home, that's analysis from the social media commentator said, it's basically about what you call home. What is home for A might not be home for B. For me, home might be, the place to go and get the bole, to go and to see the keke. You miss all of that anywhere, but at some point, it might not make sense again. Of life might not, it might not be all you need for life again. Life might demand more from you, that all of that will not even matter.
Very true, very true.
And then you know that responsibility calls. I need to solve problems, and you will just gravitate to anything that makes that home better. Anything that makes you feed your family well, and that makes you live better. That will be where you gravitate towards to call home. So it's not a one-size-fits-all, like you said, but you have to be intentional if you want to really be productive. Match your personality with your environment and be deliberate about the things that complement you.
You see, we must realize that for somebody whose first line of priority is survival, there are things you don't tell them. Like what most I would say, those things will enter from here and fly out from the other ear. Because at that point in time, they are in a survival mode. They are not favorably disposed, so to say, to certain conversations about, you have to be close to home, you have to be patriotic, this is where you were born and raised, this is your home, no matter where you go. They want to survive first before they can come to that. I'll give you an example. So I was watching TV many years ago. We had Obasanjo then as president, Atiku as vice president. Now, the former vice president's wife had this foundation, I think it was it Whatclef or so, right? It was for women, basically. So they had gone abroad to, as it were, expand their reach, sort of. While they were there, there's this gentleman, of course, a veteran, B.C. Olatilo, veteran broadcaster, who interviewed a couple of people. This was in Ireland now, it was in Dublin. He spoke with a lawyer who happened to be a Nigerian, right? And the lawyer said, he was talking about the circumstances around leaving Nigeria for overseas. He said he had been in Nigeria, in fact, it was in Lagos, for 5 straight years out of law school. He couldn't find a job, right? So one thing led to another, he found his way in Dublin. The next thing you know is things begin to fall in place gradually. And before long, he's not only working as a lawyer, he's running his own firm right there at the heart of Dublin. That will not be the exact story for everybody. So for a man like that, I don't know what you're going to tell him to say, no, you should have stayed somewhere in Shomolu where you can be seen, going, and those things are amazing. But as it stands right now in this phase of his life, in this season of his journey, is that what matters for him? Because look at, we're not all at the same point in our journeys, right?
One of my concerns about traveling abroad is maybe the food. But right now, there are countries that you go to that's African food, Nigerian food is
becoming more common than before.
Yeah, so it's a place to explore opportunities. If you go to a place and you don't see Nigerian dish, you can actually start one if you go through the right processes and the right channels, right? So there is an opportunity. What we call a problem can actually be an opportunity, a blessing in disguise if you look deeply. So there shouldn't be anything called, problem. If you're a problem solver, solve the problems.
Well, let's continue to solve those problems. That's why we're here. And somebody once said that the people who earn the most anywhere in the world are those who solve the most complex of problems for the larger majority of the people. We'll take a break again. When we return, we'll put our conversation on the road for you. Please stay with us. Up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning.
For the latest issues.
Always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
Welcome to Tuesday's weather forecast. The atmosphere is expected to be mostly calm with a mixture of clouds and sunshine to sunny skies in the northern states. But as the day progresses, moisture influx and atmospheric instability will trigger thunderstorm activities in parts of Taraba, Plateau, the Federal Capital Territory, Benue, the southeastern and the south-south region. And let's talk about temperatures. In the southern parts of the country, temperatures are gradually dropping. This is due to continuous rainfall activities in the region. In contrast, it's expected to be intensely hot in the northern states, particularly in parts of Borno and Yobe, where temperatures are peaking at 44 degrees Celsius. We advise remain well hydrated and wear light breathable clothing. That's the forecast. I am Theodora Itzum. Thank you for watching.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust a multi-platform news broadcast, real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Global TV News, accurate and unbiased. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe. As it stands today, we can safely say that every other day, yes, I mean literally every single day that passes, politicians, especially those on the side of the opposition, keep reminding us that 2027 is not only going to be interesting, but it's going to be radically different from the other rounds of election, general election, that is, that we had seen in the past. Because as it stands today, just when you think that the opposition is now together, is now, if you like, unified or coherent, the next thing you know is there's division. As it stands right now, there are those who believe that the NDC is the face of the opposition. Others say, well, the ADC actually is, even with all the legal issues that it has to deal with at this point in time. You know, I asked a guest here, I said, is there opposition in Nigeria as it stands right now? That was on Friday, I think. And he said, well, there is, even though it looks frail, looks like, in the words of Donald Trump, is on life support, but at least there's support.
There is opposition. The question is there a coalition? I don't think the coalition.
So beyond opposition, you're saying we need a coalition.
Yes, you need a coalition because it took a coalition to take over the ruling government
in 2015.
Right, a strong coalition. There was no division whatsoever. Was there? Maybe there was.
Even if there was, it was properly managed.
Yeah, that was the year. Was that the year Atiku contested? No, Atiku contested.
That was the year that well, the late former President Buhari contested with Jonathan of the PDP.
So it was clearly a Jonathan versus
the APC.
The
APC had just successfully done its merger at that time, which until that point was ACN.
Exactly.
Right.
So it was clear that it was one person against one person. I made it easy for the APC government to take over. Yeah. So the possibility of this current opposition taking over is quite slim, although events are still unfolding. For the ADC right now, I think it's a 50-50 for them. Maybe not a 50-50. 50-50 in the sense of it's either the party, it's either the courts when it decides or when INEC decides to take the the ruling of the courts, interprets whatever comes out from the court case as well, and that would also be a pointer to how things unfold. However, I'm really skeptical, and I'm convinced that INEC is no longer after them again.
Why you have to sound like that?
INEC is no longer after APC, so I can assure you, I'm not the judge, of course, but I really, from everything playing out, you might just say that whole court case might die down at this point.
Well, maybe we need some more perspectives in this regard. We understand our guest who joins us virtually from Port Harcourt, River State this morning is set to jump in on the conversation. We're incidentally hosting Victor Daniels, is a political analyst. Victor, we would like to say a big thank you to you for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Let's get started from where you are. I mean, practically, you are at River State this morning. For a long time now, for about a year, we're seeing more than ever before this intense tussle between the former governor of River State, now Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike, and his estranged political godson, the incumbent governor, Siminalayi Fubara. The screening done by the APC just 2 days ago appears to have highlighted again what many people would call, as it were, continuous fighting between these two gentlemen. Share your thoughts with us about the political developments in Rivers?
Yeah, good morning once again. I think it will be correct to say last year or this year, this whole issue started a few months after the governor got into office. And for whatever reason, just the both men know why the fight has been going on up till now. But for a fact, the governor has tried, he has restrained himself to be a man of peace. I won't say that for the FCT minister anyway, and his followers, because I know what would have happened if it was the FCT minister in the other side of the divide. And once again, for the list that came out yesterday, I think the APC screening secretary, I think Mr. Tanko, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Tanko, he came out to say that list is fake. For now, in Rivers State, there are three things that are flying: the fake news, the authentic news, and the propaganda news. And both of the trails, they are all coming with facts. And you can recall that we're an AI generated world right now, that they can purport get any anything, any document they want from the AI. So I think for now, the governor is trying to make sure that there's peace. But for the side of the FCT minister, I don't think he's ready for that. I don't think he's ready to toe that line, which is very unfortunate, because most of this fighting would have been an in-house fighting, not in the public domain. And one will wonder, if he's not a member of the APC, what's his issue with the APC? The governor has defected to the APC. So what is the fight all about? And the governor asked this question in 2023, that what is his offense? Up till now, the FCT minister have not come out clearly to tell us that, okay, this is what the governor has done. That is wrong. He just keeps saying there's an agreement. And from the quarters, we are hearing that the agreement is because of the sharing formula of the IGR of Rivers State.
FCT minister says that he doesn't like ungrateful people. So he invariably refers to Governor Fubara as being ungrateful. That's number one. Number two, he says that he can't afford to allow someone else hijack his political structures in Rivers State. Do you think those count for offenses on the part of the governor?
No. If you say the governor is ungrateful, he has 99% of the political structure in the governor's cabinet. So you cannot say such person is ungrateful. 99% of the commissioners are with the FCT. The 27 lawmakers are with the FCT minister. All the advisors are with him. So you cannot say the man is ungrateful. Ungrateful, that is why we come back to this question that the people of Rivers State are asking. That is it the sharing of the commonwealth of the Rivers State people that is an offense? Because if you look at it, in 2025, when the governor came in, when the FCT minister was governor, the IGR of Rivers State was over 82 billion. It never got to 100 billion until the present governor came in. Right now, the last IGR for Rivers State in 2024 is over 300 and something billion. So one begs to ask the question, is it the sharing formula that makes the governor ungrateful? Because you can't say someone is ungrateful politically when you have over 99% of your people in his office, in his cabinet. So where is the governor now ungrateful? So the FCT minister needs to come out and tell us, okay, this is why he's ungrateful. Because if he says based on the appointment, he has 99% of the people in this government, 99% are with the FCT minister.
We've seen both personalities talking about the Rivers State governor, Siminalayi Fubara, and Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister. Countless, maybe on various occasions, have peace talks with President Bola Tinubu. It appears as though this case is not something that, which the details can be brought to the limelight. But there appears to be some kind of agreement that has been breached between Nyesom Wike and Fubara, the Rivers State governor. One expected that at this point things would have been, settled, because after every meeting with the president, there seemed to be some sort of silence. And right now, there is that tension again, a tension that comes and goes and comes and goes. Do you think people have called out Fubara as not having strategy towards, Rivers politics? Would you say that is true? Do you think he has lost strategy at this point, or strategy takes?
The governor is trying to restrain himself, just like I said, not to be seen or not to be who he is not. Because from his body language and I've known the governor for a very long time. You understand? I've known him for over 20 years, and he has been a man of peace. So if he's not a man of peace, nobody would have looked at him as being weak. And being peaceful doesn't mean you are weak. And the 8-point agenda that the peace broker that was broke by the president, the governor fulfilled all of them. They said all commissioners should be reinstated. They were all reinstated. They said all cases should be withdrawn from the court. The governor withdrew all his cases. What happened to the other side of the divide? They did not withdraw their cases. You understand? Now they said a budget should be presented before the Martin Amehule's leadership. That the EDC here should also resign, should also step down. He stepped down. The governor did his own part, but the FCT ministers camp, they refused to do their own part. They refused to do their own part. So you cannot say the man is weak. He has tried his best to make sure that on this other end, I fulfilled everything Mr. President said. It was 8 points peace broker that was made. And out of that 8, the man saw it that 6 was fulfilled to the latter. And who holds the other 2? The FCT minister. And they refused to do that. They refused to withdraw those cases. Now we are talking about budget. Everybody, all of us in Rivers State, we know that the FCT minister, when he was governor, we know how the budgets were passed. We know how those budgets were passed. So we cannot stay here and say, okay, these budgets were passed XYZ time. We cannot say that. We know how those budgets were passed. We know that those budgets were all passed in the government house. So you cannot say that about the governor. The governor went to them. They locked him out. You locked the whole governor out of the assembly complex, asking him not to present the budget. So what else do they want the governor to do? He brought the budget. It's open. It's there. Everybody saw him. But we have never seen the former governor present the budget before the assembly. If there's any picture, if there's any video out there, they should bring it out and prove me wrong. We have not seen any of that. So the governor has done everything in good faith.
Look at this River State issue beyond just these 2 gentlemen who are now the dramatist personnel, as they say. Let's now look at how it escalates to the national level and what the implications are. You and I know, Victor, that in any case, River State matters when it comes to national politics, and it is clear that President Bola Tinubu is interested in how things play out in River State regarding 2027. What we have thought by now, with the intervention by the president, we are now clear, we now have closure, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Who is in charge, by your own assessment, of the politics of River State? Is it Governor Siminalayi Fubara or former Governor Nyesom Wike?
I think the governor is in charge of the politics in the state. He's in charge of the politics in the state, but at the same time, he's trying to restrain himself. You understand? He's trying to restrain himself. He's trying to calm his supporters and to make sure that there's peace in the state. If there's any violence or any breach of peace, he will be held accountable. And I think that alone shows maturity and strength for me. Others may look at it as weakness, but for me, it shows that, okay, this man is
the issue of who is in charge of the politics in River State as it stands right now. I'm not so sure why politicians have to fight about that, but of course we understand how power dynamics work. Somebody has to be in charge and people will follow by themselves to be the ones in charge. I was going to follow him up with a question about what he generally thinks about the president's intervention. Has it been a case of making a bad situation worse? Because the president is the father of the nation, more so the chief of Nigerian politics. But it appears that intervention didn't pay off much as expected.
I think the president is in such a dicey position
right now.
Right now, ever since this whole drama started, because he is appearing to be, rewarding former River State Governor, present FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, over maybe previous administration and whatever he did to bring him to power in River State.
Right.
Because I know he played a big role.
Do you think the president is overcompensating?
Well, I don't know the agreements they had. I really don't know. I don't know the secrets they share. Ultimately, it appears that there's a big secret.
Between both of them.
They say the strength of a relationship or the bond of a relationship is the depth of secrets. So sometimes it's I don't know whatever it is they share, but I really think it's quite dicey for him. I don't know what relationship he also has with Fubara. He also has to play the big brother role.
Right.
He has to play the friend role. He has to play the ally role. So it's really testing his leadership skill and capacity at this point. The situation is the way it is basically because of the president's intervention. We all know that if President Tinubu had not intervened, it would have gotten worse. So I really think he's doing a good job, in the intervention. However, I really don't know how detailed he is and how fair he is, because there still appears to be some bias, yes, especially towards the ex-minister, because according to what our guest has said, he has at least been able to fulfill 6 of the 8 promises. But on the other end, that is on the Nyesom Wike end, according to him, said nothing has really been done. So whatever it is that is the agreement, you were also once, you've had people that have, set you up politically, so people that have stood by you. Have they demanded so much of you as what you're demanding from?
I think we need to place that demand on our guests right now. It's so good to have you back, Victor. Would you be kind enough to continue your thoughts from that point where you left off? Plus, also let us know your perspective on the intervention of the president. It wasn't a one-off thing. He had intervened once, he intervened again. Of course, the last intervention was far after the state of emergency that was declared. So talk to us about all of those real quick.
Okay, sorry, the network here is bad a little. So, quick one. I think the president doesn't want to get his hands burnt in River State politics. He doesn't. You understand? He's trying to sit on the fence, and at the same time, sitting on the fence, he's also trying to be like a host rather than being a judge in the matter. Because if he's a judge in this matter and the matter doesn't go the way of the governor that has, let's say, 90% of the electorate sympathy in River State, he's going to get his hand burnt in his own election in 2027. So, be that may, I think the governor has tried to implement out of the 8, 6 of them. 6 of them. If the FCT minister and his camp were able to just implement those 6, I think those other 2, I think peace would have been in River State all through. This whole bringing people overnight, those that are holding office in the National Assembly to pick up ticket overnight and run against the governor, wouldn't have been an issue. would have had a consensus candidate. If the governor doesn't want to continue, he steps down and somebody else go. You understand? So the president is just trying to play a smart one. And I think I have to be very candid. I have to be very honest. The president is on top of his game on the politics of Rivers State. He's trying to be neutral. He's trying to just sit on the fence. He doesn't want to be the judge, because the last time, the first piece that was broke, he was the judge. And we know how much of damage that cost him in Rivers State. A lot of people were not even looking at the FCT minister. They were just pointing fingers straight to the presidency. And I think this second piece that was broke, he did his best. He did his absolute best to make sure that he's sitting on the fence on this one. And I think that's a smart one. And I think that's just what a leader should do. Rather than pick side, he should just sit on the fence and let these two gentlemen. I think the FCT minister needs to call himself to order. He needs to call his followers to order. He needs to take a cue from what the SDF did in Benue State. He called the governor. He sent a letter to the office of the governor, and they had peace. They sat inside their banquet and sorted out everything. You understand? There's no more political tension there. Look at what Ogun State is doing. They are calling all stakeholders for a meeting today to sort all these things out. So if the president lets the FCT minister push this matter towards the election, he's going to get his hand burnt. He's going to get his hand burnt in Rivers State. And at the end of the day, he has nobody to blame rather than the FCT minister, who has not to lose. He's not contesting for any election. So the president has something to lose. So he needs to call him to order.
So what do you mean by he's going to get his hands burnt? I mean, what is the impact of all of this on the 2027 elections, especially, with the politics of Rivers State? What do you see? What do you foresee?
I think what I meant by getting his hand burnt, the electorates have 90% sympathy on what is happening to the governor. 90% sympathy of what is happening to the governor. And that is going to take a significant tone on his votes in Rivers State. That will undermine his votes in Rivers State. So he needs to be very careful. And I think he has learned that from the last piece that was broke. You understand? He has learned that. And I don't think he's going to do the same. Everybody, if you meet people on the street and you talk about Rivers politics, everybody is sympathizing with the governor. Everybody is sympathizing with the governor. So if at the end of the day they twist the governor's hand and this whole thing goes south, he's going to blame himself for not calling the FCT minister to an order. He's going to blame himself because the FCT minister has nothing to lose. He has something to lose. You understand? He has something to lose.
To now talk about some of the things we hear in the realm of speculation, essentially, about some agreement that had been reached by way of brokering peace, which you have continually referred to, where the president was the one who had brokered that peace, we understand. But we are hearing, and that has been for a long time now, that one of the clauses in that agreement, or if you like, call it understanding, is that Governor Fubara cannot, should not, will not stand for re-election in 2027. However, we saw recently he had defected from the PDP to the APC, and now it is clear that he has the ambition to return to the government house in Port Harcourt in 2027. Help us unravel the dynamics around that sort of situation.
I think that analogy of the governor not picking ticket for the second term, I think that it's a fake news. That was never brought before the president or anybody. That the 8-point agendas are clear. Reinstate all commissioners, represent the budget to Martin Amehule's house. What else? I think Edison here should step down. A lot of them. There's no point that the president or the governor signed that he was not going to contest for a second term. And be that it may, the governor has all rights, you understand, to go for a second term. That's his right. So even if, let's assume that it was in the 8-point agenda that was signed, let's assume that it was there. That is not constitutional. They cannot, on their own, say, okay, don't do this, don't do that. They cannot dictate for the governor. He has right to dictate for himself. If he's qualified to vie for that office, then he should do that.
Isn't that going to be part of the issues they're having? I mean, there's such a thing as a gentleman agreement, and when you go into an agreement with someone, they say agreement is agreement. So if I have an agreement with a person to say, regardless of your rights, regardless of the constitutional rights you have, I'm going to give you this platform, I'm going to look for supporters, and after such a time as we have agreed upon, you're going to step down. And that person decides to violate that, because you go back, you get all the power and realize I actually have a right, and then you use that power you think you have to go against an agreement. Doesn't an agreement supersede maybe one's constitutional rights if you want to be someone of integrity?
I think the agreement that we are all talking about here was stated clearly. It was stated clearly. It was in the public domain. And there was no part in that agreement. I've seen it. There's no part in that agreement that stated that the governor should resign. The governor should not go for a second term. There's no part in that agreement that stated that. There's no part. Agreements can be based on gentleman agreement, they shake hands and all that. You understand? But those are, even if they have a gentleman agreement that the governor should not seek a second term, who is the FCT minister to say the governor should not seek a second term? He's not above the law. The law has permitted the man to seek for a second term. So he's not above the law. Even the president is not above the law. If the governor in his own right say, okay, I want to seek a second time, I want to consolidate on the things I've done for the people of Rivers State, I want to seek a second term, so be it.
You've mentioned that the list that was put out there is fake, it's not genuine, it's not authentic, and you said someone has said that it is not correct. But we saw Fubara angrily walking out of that meeting, and there are reports of him not even wanting to talk to journalists. Why all of that reaction if you insist that the list that invalidates his loyalists is fake?
If you know the governor, His Excellency Sim Fubara, you know that one, he's a shy person in nature. You understand? He's not someone that is friendly with cameras. You understand? Even among, if not with his family, that you can see his true color, you can see who he really is. You understand? Around people. So I think what I learned from an insider that went with him for that screening said he was asked to write his name, sign, take a bow, and go for the respect. They gave him that respect, that honor. Say, sign, write your name, sign, take a bow, and go. And he left. So that is for those people that are screening to decide. It's not for we to see his body language and say, okay, these are, because initially people were saying, okay, he's not coming for the screening. But not only Sim Fubara, the national chairman came out and stated that even the governor of Taraba was not there. The governor of Ebonyi State, I think, was not there. And I think about 2 other aspirants were not there yet. But just like what I told you, there are 3 things that are really, really moving around in Rivers State today. The fake news, the real news, and propaganda. Why I say propaganda, there are people that this propaganda is not like they are fake news. They mix the authentic news and the fake news together and push it out there. and push this narrative out there. And there are others that will just push the fake news out there. And there are some of us that will just say the truth the way it is. Even if the governor passed the screening today, what is the guarantee that he's going to win the election in 2027? It's not by passing the screening. It's about the electorate, the Rivers people, to decide if they want him to come back or not. So the screening is not the whole thing. It's not the big deal there. The big deal is 2027. Anybody can be on the ballot today, and they can lose in 2027. So this whole thing, that's
it
why
takes you to be on the ballot first before we talk about losing or winning. So I think it's the first step towards winning. And so from all you're saying now, are you saying that we're still expecting to see Fubara's loyalists, emerging on the ballot? Because the APC has given governors the right to an extent to determine who represents in the state. So are we still expecting that?
I think that will be for the people screening. That will be for the committee that is screening to decide if those loyal to Fubara. Sorry, I don't think they should be allowed to pass. You understand? If those loyal to the governor are not qualified, they should be screened out. And whoever that is not qualified should be screened out. So it's not about who gets what. You understand? It's about the Rivers people getting the best hands. Not when they get to the assembly and somebody sits somewhere and just call for an impeachment without, okay, up till today, they have not told us the reason why they want to impeach the governor. So someone cannot just send you a message and say, okay, we want this man out of this place, and you just take it. So we need competent people that will come and do the work of the people of Rivers State.
I like us to talk about, as it were down in Rivers State, the issue which my colleague Priscilla made reference to or an allusion to a while ago. The president had made very clear that there are two options for the APC in terms of the primary and emergence of candidates. First is direct primaries, and he says where that is not feasible for whatever reason, you have to, consensus, yes. If consensus doesn't work, if it's not going to be a possibility in any particular state, then it has to now be direct primaries. And then he says governors have or reserve the latitude to determine those who emerge. Incidentally, it is obvious that is not what we are seeing in Rivers State. Doesn't that say that Governor Siminalayi Fubara is, if you like, a toothless bulldog in a manner of speaking?
Okay, I think this whole thing does not imply to all the governors. It doesn't imply to all the governors. Like the governors that are not returning, they don't have that privilege. You understand? And the governors that came in also did not have that full privilege. Because from my own knowledge, I know that what the party said is those progressive governors that are returning for their second term will enjoy these privileges in full. But those that are joining them now, you understand, these certain privileges will not be given to them wholesale. These certain privileges will not be given to them wholesale. The same thing applies to the governor of Kano State. The deputy Senate president is bringing some people up. You understand? He's bringing some people up. So it's not only microzone to Rivers State alone that, okay, the governor is being bullied around and all that. No. What is happening now in Rivers State is there are some certain conditions that the governor signed to when he defected to APC. There are some certain conditions that he signed to. And right now, those conditions have been met. They have been met. One of them is his return. as a governor. So if the party decide to say, okay, we are going for a direct primaries, everybody knows that the governor will win anybody hands down. We know those other aspirants. We know who they are coming to fill the gap for. You understand? We know. And if it happens that, okay, they want a consensus candidate, we know what the Progressive Governors Forum wants. So anyway it goes, it favors the governor. But the thing is, the governor does not want all his cards out there so that people will not look at it, okay, this is what is happening and this is what is happening. He's holding all his cards to his chest. If he goes down to consensus, he's going to win. He's going to be the consensus candidate. If he's down to the direct primary, how many of those people around the FCT ministers are registered members of the APC? How many of them? So we all know all these things, but the thing is, we allow them to say what they want to say. If it makes them feel better, no problem. Everybody needs to feel good at the end of the day. So if all these things are making their camp feel better, no problem. Let's see what happens.
Position in Rivers State, and the governor, of course, defected from the PDP to the APC. But where would you say opposition is at in Rivers State? I like the fact that you mentioned that it's not just about, you know, presenting loyalists, but people that are capable. Do you see capable hands too in the opposition in Rivers State?
I think the APC is trying to get their hand burnt. Let me use that statement also in those people they are trained up to aspire for the elections, because the ADC is actually bringing up very wonderful candidates up. And you know one thing in Rivers State is people don't vote based on sentiment. They don't vote based on sentiment. That's why you see even the last election, you see that different parties did well in Rivers State election. The Labour Party, I think, came second in the governorship election. You understand? What they call them, the PDP won, the Labour Party, the APC, they all did well. You understand? So you see that it is not the what they call it Baba Sokwe democracy as it is in Lagos State. You understand? The people of Rivers State, they have their own, they have a mind of their own. So everybody is going to look at who is competent and vote for that person. So it's not all about if those people that APC is bringing, if they are capable hands or not. If they are not capable hands, they are lost. If ADC or NDC or any other party bring capable hands, the people will vote for those people that are more competent. So it's left for the APC to screen and bring forth people that will match these other opposition parties by every stride. If they don't, they are going to lose. They are going to lose. So they need to bring forth people that will match these other parties. So that is up to the screening committee to see that, okay, Rivers State is not where you go and say, okay, I want to bring this person because we are the ruling party and we're going to get everything wholesale. You won't get it wholesale here. You won't get it. If the ADC even bring up a candidate that they see that, okay, this candidate is better than the APC candidate, even if it's Fubara, they are going to vote for that person.
Everything you said.
Yeah?
I said you didn't mention the PDP. You mentioned the ADC. You mentioned the NDC. How about the PDP?
The PDP is dead and gone now. The PDP is dead and gone. So I think nobody wants to go close to the PDP. The PDP right now has leprosy. Nobody wants to go close to them. Because when the CTC judgment came out, they said the party should go back to status quo antebellum. And what is the status quo antebellum? To go back the way it was before the crisis. And the way it was, the organ that should take
The connection there just blacked out. But we've been talking with Victor Daniels, who happens to be a political analyst based out of Port Harcourt, River State. I think his points are salient, but then he's also very glaring that he is a supporter, I wouldn't want to say loyalist, of Governor Siminalayi Fubara.
Well, it's clear that, River State is one very dynamic state, and it's like he said, the politics in Rivers is not a babasope
kind of politics.
kind of politics.
He said like you have in Lagos.
Exactly. Everybody has a right. But is it really the case? Is the question. What happened in 2023?
Yes.
Did we see that play out?
Is the voice of the people being heard?
Was that the voice of the people? Because we saw reactions after the election. Ultimately, we know that Nigerian politics, lies solely sometimes in the hands of the governor of that state. So Lagos State was an exception. I don't know what happened. Maybe because of the electorate, the knowledge and all of that, strategies, people electorates actually came up with strategies in Lagos. People mounting their polling units and making sure nothing goes wrong there. People donating money for refreshment and all of that. There was so much unity at polling units in Lagos State. But can we say we saw that also reflect in River State? Because we saw cases of rigging, we saw people coming out to cry out, how ballot boxes were snatched and all of that. It was prominent in River State. So is it true that River State is a Baba? No, it's not a state of Baba, according to what our guest has said. But we'll see how all of this plays out, because times are changing and it's changing quite fast. What happened in 2023 may not happen in 2025 or 2027 rather. It's totally different, and like I say, I'm here for it. We're all here for it.
Well, we keep our fingers crossed and see how it goes. This is not just only about River State. We also hope it's peaceful. We also hope there's harmony across the country. But the challenge that we have is that politicians always put patriotism. They make it a backseat issue because they want to win by all means. And when when politicians say nobody gives you power, you've got to take it. It sounds a bit scary, especially within the context of the sort of politics that we play back at home. You see desperation, you see unhealthy ambition, you see people breaking the rules where they are unable to break the rules, or they are prevented from breaking the rules. They find a way to bend the rules or circumvent the rules. And then because we have a system that is very fragile in terms of constitutional democracy, in terms of rule of law, in terms of judiciary and the entire legal system, you realize that you're always going to have these people who, beyond principle, are above the law. And it's painful, because now we're talking about borrowing. There are people who strongly believe that the government is borrowing because of election. And if that is the case, I say that with a big if, my children should be worried beyond me, because it's going to have transgenerational implications. If you have to borrow because the government of the day needs to prosecute elections, not just because you want the elections to reflect the choice of the people, but because there's vested interest that must stay in power, that must capture power or capture power and things like that. These are very concerning. So we want to see people who speak to the issues, we want to see people who can be held accountable from the presidency to the very least. I go back to my state, for example. I've been seeing some individuals who you never would have thought would be contesting the election. They are all saying, look, let's go there. If it's not now, when? This is the best time to contest the election. Of course, people have the inalienable right to contest election as long as they meet constitutional requirements, as long as they align with the guidelines set out by the Independent National Electoral Commission. But the thing is, do they have the track record that proves, that convinces the electorate that they can deliver if they are voted in? We must look at that. These are not times when we get to vote for people, because Priscilla is from my village, Priscilla's mom and my mom used to work in the civil service together, and as such, I have to vote for her. It shouldn't work like that. It must be a question of, in what capacity has Priscilla been able to prove herself before now? Why do we have to choose Priscilla over the other contestants? We must bring logic to all of us.
I think there's so much logic, especially with regards to the new guys coming up. Maybe the Nigerian youths that are beginning to aspire.
Right.
And most of them are doing this because people have told them, why not do this? So it's quite different with the new guys. We see that the likes of Aisha Yesufu, the likes of Randy Peters.
Well, Shore told her that her choice, her decision to run for the Senate seat in FCT is amazing. It's brilliant, but she's in the wrong party.
So she needs to come to the AAC, or is it the ACC?
I'm still trying to know the acronyms of that party. But we do know Shore has a party. Yes, where he is always the flag bearer, presidential flag bearer.
We should move away from party politics, and that's what we keep preaching. It's more about the
individuals, right?
Yeah, so Nigerians are voting or calling for you, or will give you the support, especially the current electorate. They are willing to give you the support. Those that are going to go get their PVCs or that got theirs in 2023, I'm very certain those set of people will want to give you the support because they see you as someone that is credible. But maybe the ones that have had their PVCs way back as the very first set of PVCs that was created, that was made, all those people from that set, they might want to go for their age grade, the people they've known all the while, or they rather sit at home, maybe because Nigeria is not working, they've not seen elections work. So those set of people particularly might decide to stay back. But you see the 2023 set, and those that will get
they think differently, right?
They think differently, and those ones are going to go for. So I'm saying this to say, for those that are aspiring in recent times, it depends on what is inspiring them. There are a lot of them that are aspiring basically because people have said, I'm going to get the form for you. Please go and do this. You've made so much impact on social media. I think you deserve this. We are tired of going to cry to the existing senators and telling them, come and join forces with us. And we're not seeing any impact. Particularly, I'm concerned about the FCT because I don't want to call names, but there are people that we expected more from, and somehow not seen them deliver. So we're hoping that 2027 would have new faces that will bring that change that indeed we want to see.
You know what I like about election is that it gives you the chance to contest, throw your heart in the ring, as I say, and then all else equal, you win. That's just the very start. That's just one part of the entire process. Whether or not you're not able to deliver is a different question altogether. Back in my state again, we can't forget where we come from. There are federal lawmakers who are now being questioned. When I say questioned, not because they have been investigated by law enforcement, by their own people, those who voted for them, to say, look, what have you shown us the last 3 years? And then you're coming back to say, well, I need, in fact, there's a particular one who thought he could be smart by half. He had been in one party, he left that party, that blessed him, so to say, moved to another party. And then he realized that he can't contest in that party because there's a bigger personality there who is standing in his way. So there's an obstacle. All right. So he decides to go to another party, the party that he had been, that gave him that platform in 2023. And then that party says, you're coming too late. I mean, you're the least person who would consider for our ticket. And now we understand it's in between trying to reconcile with a party that he thought was going to be a safe house or a safe haven for him, and deciding whether I should look for a third party altogether. But you see, what we learn from all of this is that ultimately the real criterion is your ability or otherwise to deliver the goods. If you can't deliver the goods, the election that brought you in is as good as a waste.
Nigerians are more aware. Nigeria is in that state where you can't even see the people anymore.
Right, of course. And the earlier politicians realized this, the better for them, and by extension for the nation. We'd like to say a big thank you to our guest this morning, Victor Daniels, who joined us virtually from Port Harcourt, the capital of Rivers State. This is where we draw the curtains on the program. Again, let's remind you that the views of all of our guests across all of our programs are their opinions. I am Uji Agmofwebe.
And I am Priscilla Obasi, wishing you an amazing day ahead. Bye.